Welcome, my name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and this is our stamp set of the week, Twisted in Time. So it's all about the tree for this stamp set. You've got a branch. Hang on a second, let's bring in my paper. So we have the bark or the trunk of the tree, then you've got like a shaded background and a more detailed leaves with, if you look very, very closely, there are like little dots, which could be cherries or berries or anything like that. We have two little squiggly stamps, which work really well in the corner of a card. And then we have the sentiments. You make every day special. Happy Easter. A sweet friendship is good for the soul. And thank you for the little things. It also comes with a die set which have 12 dies in it, which we will be using later on in the week. So do join me for that. But first, let's do our first card, which is this one. And what I've done here is tone on tone. This is Darling Duckling. It is a new colour for the in colours that will arrive next week. So look out for that. But I've also used Early Espresso and Garden Green for this one. And then I've done an inside layer as well. So let's bring in what we're going to use. So I've got Blackberry Bliss. Now this measures the 8 inches by 5 3/4, which will fold at the 4-inch mark. I also have a piece of Blackberry Bliss. Now this is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. So that's going to give me a second layer then. And then I have a white piece, which is 3 1/2 by 5 1/4, which will layer on there. And I have a second piece, which will be the inside layer. So quite a simple card, but it is a Monday. So let's go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Blackberry Bliss piece of cardstock. Now, it worked really well on the Darling Duckling because it showed up through it quite quickly, quite easily. I'm not sure how it's going to work on this one, so we'll give it a go and let's see. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this is the shaded one. I'm going to take the Blackberry Bliss, and what I'm after is I'm just after it to be a touch darker than the card base. So I'm just going to ink that up with a good old bish bash, taking the ink pad to the stamp because it is bigger. And I'm just going to, it does give a effect, but whether you'll actually see it on camera, I don't know. So I'm going to do it and see if I can bring it up to you. So you've got like a tone, not sure if you can see it, but there's like a dark tone. So it actually brings up the colour, and hopefully what I'm after is it to be slightly different from the actual card base, as I said before. Now, because the middle is going to be covered, I'm not worrying about doing the middle. I'm just doing the outside. There we go. And then the last piece. Obviously, if you want more of a deeper effect, you're going to need to use a lighter card. I'm just going to use a wet wipe to clean this because I'm actually going to need to use it for the green of the leaves. So I'm just going to clean that off quite quickly. You can see it's definitely coming off. There we go. Give that a little bit of a, there we go, polish. Put that aside for a second. Close that up so I don't put my hand in it. Sort of coming off, isn't it? Right, then what we're going to do is this will get layered onto there, and you can see it if I tilt it, hopefully, that there is a difference. There's a two tones between these, and then what will happen is that will go over the top, and it again will make it a slightly different shade. Okay, so let's focus on this section. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little die, and I'm going to use it in my Blackberry Bliss, she says. I'm going to stamp it. I'm just going to check it. Yep, that works quite well. And what I'm aiming for is the top of this stamp here to fit in the corner up here. So let's bring that down so I can actually see what I'm doing. And that goes up there. There's one. And come on, down you come again. 2. Now, if you find your ink pad is very inky, probably because you've either just re-inked it or it's brand new, I find not pressing too hard on this particular stamp, and it still comes out really quite crisp. Okay, so that is that one. Let's clean that. There we go. I'll pop that back in the bin. Right, so the next thing to do is to do our tree cover. So I just want to see if definitely, yeah, okay. So we're going to do a second generation with this. I'm using shaded spruce. So I don't want the shaded spruce to be really dark on the background. So I'm just going to ink it up like so. I'm going to stamp it off. There we go. And then I'm going to bring that in to the card. I'm aiming for probably quite high up, so there's room to put the sentiment at the bottom. So there is the shaded spruce on that. So you can see that there is a difference once you've stamped it off once. Again, I'm going to use my what do they call? Wet wipes. I normally use a chamois, which I really like. But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, my chamois are going around in the washing machine at the moment as we clean them. So I'm going to clean this one off. My block that I normally use seems to have vanished, so I'm down to 1 block. But that's fine, because once you've cleaned it, you can always pop it away. I'm just going to pop it onto there. And now we're going to put the leaves. Put that straight onto there. Now this literally will fit over the top of our shaded that we've just done, but we're going to do it the same in the shaded spruce. So it's going to fit over the second generation stamp, and it will give you more of a focal point. Oh, look at that. Have you ever done that before? How annoying is that? Luckily I have a new piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear this away. And we'll quickly do that again. So I'm going to take my squiggle detail and I'll pop that into the, try that again. Oh, I'm obviously not catching that corner. Right, yeah. So up in the top, 1, 2. It's so annoying when you do that, isn't it? There we go. So this is the replay. So we've now got the green to put onto there. I'm just going to take that off. I'm just going to make sure that there is no more ink on this bit. Okay. Let's take that. We'll close up the Blackberry Bliss. We will bring in the shaded spruce again. And we will bring the ink pad to the actual stamp, as it's so big. I'm going to stamp it off, and then we're going to bring it in and pop it down there. Lovely. I'm then going to bring in my other one, which has still got the ink on it, so let's be careful with that. So this is, so that was the second generation, this is first generation stamping. And this will hover over the top and should fit quite nicely. Straight down, straight up, that's much better. Okay, so I'm going to use pecan pie for the trunk. Let's bring that in. Now, the advantage of this trunk, apart from the fact it's beautifully delicate and it's got such beautiful detail on it, is that the leaves will fit round the branches of the trunk will fit round the leaves when you put it in. So let's stamp that up. Oops. I'm gonna pop that in, make sure it goes round. Hold it there for a couple of seconds, and there we go. So as you can see, it blends in with the tree and gives you that effect that obviously that the leaves are sitting on the branches. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put happy birthday at the bottom. Again, I shall use the Blackberry Bliss for that. Let's pull that out and we can stamp. Just double check. Yep, that works. And then I'm just going to pop that down and straight up. So all that's left to do now is to assemble it. So we'll get rid of the piece that we made a mistake on. There was no chance of rectifying that or saving that, unfortunately. So I'm using my multi-purpose, turn it over, and I'm just going to pop that on the back of the, come on. There we go. I know this is full. I had a card class at Saturday for the day. It was lovely. 10 ladies come. We had great fun. We made 4 different cards. I'm just trying to get the glue off. There we go. And so I know these are working because these are full. It's just taking a little bit of time for it to make up its mind to come out. Right, okay, so let's pop that down, wriggle it around and make sure that we've got equal spacing on all 4 sides. That we're as straight as we possibly can be. There we are. And then all we need to do now is to fold our base card. I'm going to fold it in half. For those of you that wish, you can score it at the 4-inch mark. But for quickness, I'm just going to use my bone folder and fold it in half. There we go. And now we can mount that onto here. You've got 2 options. Option 1 is you just lay it straight down, which is what I'm going to do. Or if you fancied a little bit of a lift, you could obviously put your dimensionals on the bottom. There we go. So identical cards in very contrasting colours. The first one was bright, and then the second one was more of earth tones. So there is today's card. As I said, quite a quick and simple card, as long as you don't muck it up on the way. But if you do, you can just start again. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. As I said, I'll be back on Wednesday for our next card. So do join me then. It will be lovely for you to be with me. And I hope to catch up with you very soon. But whatever you do, happy crafting and take care. Bye.